Hey guys! Welcome back to our channel,
Plots with a Twist,
where we discuss books.
amongst other things.
We got it together, y'all.
We do. Today, we're going to do our TBR and wrap-up, or wrap-up TBR.
Yes. Lots of reading, lots of chatting.
Yes,
Let's
I read
get
this month, y'all. Yay.
To it. Okay. Boom, she read. I did too, but that's nothing new.
Oh, wow.
Anywho, okay, so what was last month? October. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
It's already the end of the year, basically, essentially.
So fast.
So October was supposed to be spooky month. Did we do any of that?
No, I didn't read anything spooky.
Nope. Not at all.
Remotely.
And I said I would, but it didn't happen. I'm sorry, y'all. But what I read, let's talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So the first book I read was The People We Keep by Allison Larkin. So, okay. So that one was about an aspiring singer-songwriter who, at the age of 16, pretty much runs away from home. Which is not really a big deal because ultimately she's been essentially abandoned by both her parents. Mm-hmm. And just wanted to make a better life for herself, and she kind of picked up the pieces wherever she fell and ended up writing songs and gaining motivation to write songs based off of people who she's encountered, chance encounter. As she kind of dates and do things, she takes, like for men, she takes like a shirt or an item from them. And ultimately, she just has a go at trying to create a life for herself. That's the best way I could describe it.
Okay. Interesting.
So along the way though, she does basically ends up in sticky situations where she has to continue to run. Mm-hmm. So she gets settled one place and then something happens and she goes to another place. So it does jump time a little bit in the book. So I feel like overall that disconnected me from the character and really her journey. I actually really enjoyed the overall book, but yeah, the progression of her story, sometimes you wish you understood a little bit more as to how she got from point A to point B when they started to jump over periods of time. I really fell in love with the writing. I thought the writing was really beautiful, really good. I felt like the progression too of, not the events, but just the flow of the story was really nice. Pacing was really nice, but for me, the ending was a little disappointing. It was like she did so much great work to make you really care for the character, want to see her journey, want her to kind of prevail, and the circumstances she ended up in, it's like, okay, I'm in the circumstances, the end. So for that reason, I couldn't give it a 5. But yeah, it was a good story overall, but the ending was a little disappointing for me. Gotcha. It was a natural ending. It wasn't a bad ending. She did so much work to build up to that point, and it was like, this is what you give?
Right, at the end.
But read it.
It's not that disappointing book.
It's not that disappointing. It was actually good though.
I might check it out. Okay, so the first book I read this past month, October, was called The Female Persuasion by Megan Wolitzer.
Okay.
Thick, but I read it. But I listened to it.
Okay, I was gonna say.
And so basically, it's about this girl.
I always thought that was a nonfiction for some reason.
Yeah, it kind of does look like it, but it's a novel. It's about this young lady named Greer. It starts off with her going to college. And in college, she meets her friends. She meets her her best friend, and she also has a high school boyfriend that they've been high school sweethearts, and they go off to separate colleges. And when she gets to college, she goes to this speaking event where this woman named Faith Frank is speaking, and I just read it on the back.
Okay.
And she's basically a feminist in a time where that's all the rage, and she basically so taken by this woman and what she stands for, and Greer is like young and still trying to figure out her own voice and stuff, so she's very like taken by this woman and just everything that she's talking about. And so yeah, it just follows her journey getting into the workforce after college, her experiences with her boyfriend, her high school sweetheart, and her friends, and just all the different things you go through as a college grad and trying to figure yourself out, and basically digging deep into why you are the way you are. Like it goes into her parents, how she was raised, and it also goes, I like the book because it goes into like the main characters are Greer, her best friend Z, her boyfriend, I forget his name, it's Corey, and Faith Frank, and it all goes into like their backstories and their lives in different ways and how they are intertwined. And yeah, it was just a really good book. I think I gave it 4 stars or 5 stars. The ending was very like, I like the way it ended. It was finite. It told you everything you want to know about the characters at the end. It gave a good conclusion, but it wasn't like, how can I explain it? It wasn't like far-fetched either. It's very relatable. So with that being said, it's a very like intimate book. I really enjoyed it. I didn't think I was gonna like it as much as I did, because there were some points, there's Charlie making a cameo, but there were some points in the story where I felt like, okay, like, how are they going to, where is this going with each of the characters? But it follows them all pretty closely without making you feel like, okay, this is too much. So yeah, that's The Female Persuasion by Meg Wolitzer. And I probably didn't explain it as good as I could have, but read it. It was good.
I think that was on my reading list. I don't know.
It's a New York Times bestseller, so it probably was.
Okay. So the next book I read, Charlie, go, move. He don't listen to me, y'all.
Get down.
Oh, excuse me. The next book I read was Secret Place by Tana.
Ooh.
Okay, so it took me forever to finish that book.
Did I read that? No.
No, I don't think so. It took me forever to finish that book because I started it in September, in all honesty. I had to recheck it out 3 times. Because first of all, it's a 21-hour book. But there's no reason why it should have taken me that long to finish this book. So, if you're not familiar, you should all be familiar if you watch our channel. But if you're not, newcomers, hey. So, boom. Tana French, she's responsible for the Dublin Murder series, as we all know or may not know. It is not a continuous series. It's nothing you have to kind of keep up with, like book to book. You could definitely go out of order, but I guess it's considered a series because it all centers around the same precinct, the same setting, the same, some of the characters overlap, but nothing about the character story is dragged into any other book in a major way. So if they allude to something that happened previously, you don't have to really go back and read it. Like, it's not that big of a deal. But Secret Place centers around Frank Mackey's daughter. So Frank Mackey is the main character in book 3. The detective Stephen is also a background player in book 3. So he's the main detective, and he's partnered with this other woman, Conway. I can't remember her first name. But pretty much, so Stephen works cold cases. He got his big break through the case that was done in book 3. And thought that would give him an entryway into the murder squad, but pretty much he works cold cases. And Holly Mackey, Frank Mackey's daughter, one day brings him this note that's left in the Secret Place. And the Secret Place is basically this board at their girls' school where the girls can kind of unleash secrets without, fear of reciprocation. It's kind of like social media without being social media. And so the card basically says, I know who killed this boy that died at the partner boys school. This murder that happened a year prior. So pretty much there ensues this year later investigation or reopening of this case where pretty much the perspectives between chapter alternates between Stephen and Conway, questioning these these 2 sets of friend groups, so 8 girls total, to kind of see where they could pick up, additional pieces that they weren't able to before. And then the other chapters surround like a third person perspective of Holly and her friends and events prior to the murder. So for me, boom, this was a little different for her. Like, especially alternating perspectives. That wasn't something I had experienced from her in the previous 4 books, as well as the standalone book I read of hers. So yeah, really different as far as the style she usually presents. But because of that, it kept me a little bit more engaged than normally her writing does, because her writing is good. It's just dense, detailed, detail heavy. So it kind of sparked a little bit more interest, because you had basically this one event and 2, like a year later and maybe a year before, and both are leading up to the major, like, what happened. So overall, I really enjoyed that alternating perspective from her. I also just really enjoy her writing, period. So I have no complaints about the overall presentation. You get, it was some details that I was like, didn't they say this already? Or didn't they jump on this? But you still feel like in the trenches with the, like you're in the trenches with the detectives and everything. Feel like you're trying to solve the case as well. So she just makes you feel like you're equipped to like solve crimes. So yeah, I really enjoyed the overall story. I thought it was really good. And I'm not disappointed by this one. So The Secret Place, I think people said it was their favorite out of the Double and Murder series.
Really? Was it yours so far? I enjoyed the first one a lot.
I enjoyed the first one a lot.
I have to think about that.
I have to think about it too. I really actually enjoyed this one, so it's up there. But let me read the last one. Let's see.
Okay.
Let me get them all a fair viewing. So yep, that's it.
Okay, so next book I read was another Jacqueline Woodson book. If y'all remember, I read another book last month, I think. And this month I read Brown Girl Dreaming at the suggestion of one of this lady that I met. She said it was like a really good book. So I was like, let me check it out. And her books Jacqueline Woodson's books are really short. So yeah, it's basically autobiography. It's basically an account of her childhood, growing up in Brooklyn and going back and forth from the South, South Carolina, and then to New York, and how she basically was raised in between the two places, and goes into her family life and her brother, all her siblings, and just basically an account of like her overall childhood growing up. And I enjoyed it. Seen? No, because she grew up in a different time. She grew up in like the 60s and the 70s. So yeah, so it was a little different, and you could tell like just different things. I don't know if this is a spoiler alert, but like it goes into like her brother, her youngest brother. I think she had 5 siblings in all, including her. Like there was 5 of them in all, and her brother was eating like paint off the walls, and you know back in the day, paint had lead in it.
Oh, so he had got something?
Yeah, so he had like, you know, he's still living, but yeah, that affected their family. So
why would you eat paint?
You know, kids used to do stuff. You know how kids be doing stuff.
Yeah.
You know, kids. They put stuff in their mouth.
One of my old necklaces in his mouth all the time.
So yeah, like they probably tasted like something to him. But yeah, that was like a thing where like kids would eat paint and get lead poisoning. So yeah, so it was a good book. It's only like 3 hours, so it's very short. But I feel like her writing style is good. It's to the point, and it also makes you feel like you're there in the story with her, the way that she tells the story. So I really enjoy her writing so far. I think this is only the second book that I've read by her. What have you read by her? Because I know you've read
that was on my list.
Okay. So yeah, and yeah, and it just talks about like how she was always good with words and wanted to be a writer, and it was just a good book.
So is it a nonfiction book, or is it like a fictional telling of her
life? It says, look, I'm looking at the synopsis. I don't think it's a fiction book. It's not categorized as a memoir, but it read like a memoir to me. Okay. So yeah. So yeah, that was, what's it called? Brown Girl Dreaming by Jacqueline Woodson. Check it out, guys. It was pretty good.
So I read. So next book I read was The Reading List by Sara Nisha Adams. Okay, so y'all, another book I had started in September. I finished it in October, and yes, it was overall delightful. Let me tell you why. So the reading list is about this old man, Mukish Pai. That's how it sounded. Mukish. This old Indian man, or he's from Kenya, but I believe he's of Indian descent, if I understood correctly. He loses his wife some years prior, and happens upon a library book that she never returned, and his wife really enjoyed reading, would connect with his oldest granddaughter through reading and through books, and really he goes on a journey for the first time really in his life to venture outside of his comfort zone by just going to the library. So there ensues a awkward encounter with the librarian that turns into a situation where she wants to turn their first impression around, and they eventually connect and become friends through this reading list that she finds. He wants to also connect with that same granddaughter. He wants to start reading the book that he found of his wife. He read and he really felt connected to her. So the librarian, since she found this list, she's reading those books to kind of feel a little bit more like a librarian. But there ensues it sparks her joy of reading. Her older brother used to work at the library as well, and they have some family issues. So it really dives into this unlikely friendship sparked from the transformative power of books.
Okay. Kind of like us. But we were friends before we started reading.
Yeah. But you get the backstory of the characters. You understand just their trials and tribulation and how they are connected to the characters in these books. And it kind of inserts kind of like a little bit like Life of Pi, and oddly enough, Life of Pi is on that reading list. Like, it's classic books.
You read Life of Pi?
I started it.
Oh, I was saying,
years
when
ago.
did you read that?
Years and years ago, I started it. Never finished it. But where it like cuts away to something else, it cuts away to other people who have also found this reading list. And you find out these people are also still visitors of the same library. Like, it's just really about how books bring you together, allow opportunity for you to connect with people you probably wouldn't normally connect with. And it just wraps up really beautifully. So I overall enjoyed the story. I said initially it was giving me like Uwe vibes, but once I started reading, not really. It wasn't as detailed on the connection that the friendship. I wish it went deeper into the overall friendship. It did show them start to like lean on each other a little bit, but I didn't really catch how they built from their initial kind of interaction, because their initial interaction was negative, and then next thing you know, she's like, "Hey, Mr. P, I got another book for you," and it's like, when did y'all overcome the first situation? So I just wish it was a little bit more detail on their actual friendship, but I did appreciate just the connection they did end up having, and ultimately just some of the other events that were involved in their lives. It's like a meta book. It's a book that makes you fall in love with books. Like, so yeah.
Okay.
The reading list. Reading.
Okay, I am. Okay, so the last book that I read for the month of October was Black Girls Must Die Exhausted by Jayne Allen. So this book, it's the first book in a series. It was supposed to be a series, but other books haven't come out yet. But it's basically, it follows, hold on, let me get the main character's name right for y'all.
I'm listening to it.
Tabitha.
Tabitha Walker.
Tabitha Walker. And basically, she is a news reporter trying to move up in her career. And she's a black woman trying to move up in her career. It follows her, her friends, her relationship with her mom. She finds out, or this is not spoiler alert, I feel like, right? She finds out early in the story that she only has a certain amount of eggs. So she's kind of put on a rush to like have children because she's already in her 30s, and she's seeing a guy, but it's not at that point yet. So it's just basically a tale of like modern womanhood, I think is what it says. And just follows her journey and like her experiences with her friendships. She has two friends. I forget their names right now.
Alexis and Leilani.
No, it's like Leon. But yeah, I forget. It follows her two friends, and just their relationships with each other and the different things that they're going through, and also like the racial tension that's going on. She's a news reporter, so of course she's reporting on things like gentrification and different racial issues and how that affects her. And yeah, and also her her relationship with her grandmother, who she's named after. So yeah, it was a good book. Y'all know I'm not good at synopsis.
No, you're pretty decent.
But I thought it was good. I gave it 5 stars. I thought it was great because I don't know. It was easy to follow. It kind of gave me like Girlfriends vibes, but in a book, you know, the TV show Girlfriends. It kind of gave me that, but with like just 3 girls instead of like all of them. You get that?
I just started it. I'm currently listening to it.
She don't like it so far, y'all.
It's a little too pretentious. You feel like that?
Why? Why do you say that?
I feel like she's really trying to show she's smart, and it's like,
I don't get that. Okay, so
maybe I
so
gotta
you know what? Maybe in the beginning, but I think you should keep reading.
Okay,
it. I think you should keep reading it because some down the line she gets humbled, even though I don't humbling people and stuff, but like, you know, like things happen and she kind of like comes to different realizations, and to me she comes off self-aware, and that may be later on, so that's why I say like,
even the writing,
really?
it's just it reads like a Ivy League essay.
I didn't get that. Interesting.
Okay,
so yeah.
I'll see if
yeah, keep reading it and then form, and let's see if your opinion changes. And if not, whatever. But so I enjoyed it. I felt like it was relatable in the sense of like just being a woman, period, and trying to like navigate through different things, being a single woman and trying to balance a career and have kids and deal with your family issues and all that type of stuff, and juggle friendships and that type of thing. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. I will definitely read the second, and I think it's supposed to be 3 books.
I think it's a trilogy.
So I think the next book doesn't come out till next year. So yeah, so that was the last book I read for the month. Aren't y'all proud of me? I read 3 books, y'all.
All right. Well, the last book I read to completion is Within These Wicked Walls by Lauren Blackwood. So you know what? I just lied. I said we didn't do spooky, but honestly, you know what? It was a little spooky, but I didn't hit it until like October. I didn't hit play until October 31st. Okay. And honestly, I rushed through it. So, and hey, it is what it is. I read it. Okay, so it's an Ethiopian author. I believe the setting is in Ethiopia. Is she Ethiopian? Did I just make that up?
You made that up, girl. I don't know.
Something was said about Ethiopia with somewhere I read. But it's one of the latest books on Reese Witherspoon's book list. What's her name? Hello Sunshine. Whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
And so that intrigued me. Plus, of course, I was trying to read spooky books, and I just realized, like I said, I lied and I read this one. But it's like a retelling of Jayne Eyre. I've never read that.
Me neither.
Don't have a desire to. But did this book make me interested in going back and read it? No. So it was basically about this young girl. She's about 19, named Andromeda. But
is that a TV show?
I don't know. Mostly people call her Andy, and she's Adepta. So basically she's like an exorcist. And pretty much she has been trained to rid people of curses, manifestations that they experience in their homes, things like that, from the evil eye. And she was raised by the person training her. He bought her, or that's what she believes. He bought her when she was about 5 and pretty much has raised her then, but rarely gave her any love, really just worked on her survival. So would basically beat her, things like that. So it was like a trigger warning at the beginning. But basically equipped her to survive on her own if she ever needed to. But he kicked her out, so she had to find a job as an unlicensed exorcist. Just the best way I can say, because I don't want to say the because I don't know how to say it. So she gets a job at this rich person's mansion, and basically the owner of the mansion, he's cursed. And so she's tasked with pretty much ridding this house and him of this curse. But pretty much since she's not licensed, she really hasn't had much experience. She's kind of bit off more than she could chew. Along the way, she does, her and the main gentleman strikes a love interest, and pretty much she's just at a crossroads of whether to continue the job and try to save him and rid the house of the curse, but it could risk her own life if she goes forward. So yeah, it was actually a pretty cute book. Even though it's kind of a little dark or whatnot, I think I overall enjoyed it. The reason I was able to get through it so quickly is because it was entertaining. I will say the main love interest connection, again, I guess I'm a person who needs that depth to kind of solidify some relationships, and I just wish there was a little bit more there to understand the attraction. They had conversations, but it wasn't enough to just be like, okay, this is the moment. Like, as a reader, this is the moment where I know they're gonna fall in love. Like, I just knew that because of the book, but it wasn't anything in the script that really made me be like, okay, here it is. Ooh, he said this. Ooh, she said that. Ooh, they about to. Ooh, I didn't have that moment. I didn't have that moment, but I did appreciate the relationship. I thought, you know, it did make sense eventually, but initially it was kind of like, y'all just getting to know each other, and now she up there, oh, I might love him. And it's like,
people fall in love fast.
I hate that about young adult books sometimes. But but overall, I thought the story was good. The ending was okay. It had a natural ending. I knew that's how it was going to end. It was a little predictable. And I guess if you read Jane Eyre, you kind of may know how it ends anyway. But yeah, I thought it was a good retelling. No harsh judgment on it. Yeah, I thought it's worth the check out, worth the read. Okay, so the other book I'll mention, because I don't know if I'm gonna finish this, y'all. Velvet Was the Night by Silvia Moreno-Garcia. This is the third book I've tried of her. I'm done. I'm done. I got 70, almost 80% done, and there's still nothing interesting about this book so far. Oh, wow. So I doubt.
I gotta read one. I'm gonna read that and see.
I doubt. You might be like, oh, it's cute, Christy. I'm gonna be like, no, it's not. It's just nothing really likable about her characters. There's nothing really appealing. It's nothing that just pulls you in. And then this book is like, y'all can look up what it's about. I don't feel like talking about it. We're on a long time anyway, but pretty much it's nothing like that really draws you into the overall story and the characters where you really want to care about the end result. I don't know. I'm sorry. Yeah, moving on. That was it for October. What are we reading in November? What you got?
Okay, so a book that I want to read in November is called We Are Not Like Them by Christine Pride, I think. I might have got that wrong, her last name. But so I think it's basically about, from what I read, a pair of best friends. One is black and one is white, and they like grew up together, best friends for years. But their friendship is tested, I guess, when the husband of the white best friend shoots a black kid, and you know it's all over the news, so it's just like a lot of racial tension and stuff. And yeah, that's all I know about it. It was suggested to me on this reading app, so I'm gonna check it out and see what it's gonna give, because I heard it was good and I want to read that.
Okay, I might join you on that. So fall is typically my depressing season. So I usually pick depressing books for some reason. I just noticed that as a trend like the other day. So I'm gonna read or try We Are the Brennens by Tracey Lange, I think.
I've heard of that.
I've been seeing it circulating on social media, things like that. And it said in the synopsis, it's a mixture of yes, again, maybe, or yes, ask again. What was it? Ask again, yes.
We read that, right?
I read it. You bought it.
Did I read it? I thought I read it.
Who
wrote that?
Mary Beth King.
Oh no, I might not have
See?
read that. I haven't read it.
Yes, you have it. Ask
read
Again,
it.
yes.
I haven't read
So it's a mix. It says it's a mixture of that and The Nest. You read The Nest. So it's kind of like that's a redemption story. Someone did something negative and kind of probably similar to the We Are Not Like Them, something, and maybe some people have to come together. That's all I know. So I'm going to tackle that and probably be depressed like I was reading both of those books. Well, The Nest was kind of humorous a little bit.
Yeah, The Nest wasn't too bad.
But yeah.
Okay, so next book on my list is a book that Kristen already mentioned she's read, and that's The Reading List by somebody, Nisha Adams.
Sasha.
My hair
or Sara.
Is it Sara? It might be
Sarah.
So yeah, y'all already heard what that's about. So that's on my list, and I do want to go ahead and read it because I love books about books. So let's see.
You'll enjoy it. Okay, so next on my list is Aristotle and Dante Dive into the Waters of the World by Benjamin. Ooh, did I write his name right? Yeah, the one who wrote the same person who wrote Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. I wrote his name and I don't want to mess it up, so but y'all will see a picture of it. But pretty much it's just a sequel to the first one. That's all I got. It's a sequel. I didn't even know that it was going to be a series, or I don't even know if it's going to continue. I don't know if it's going to be a duology. I don't know. I just saw that there was another book and I said, oh,
let me check it out.
Yep. All right. So that's what I'm reading.
Okay. So next book I want to read is called Tokyo Ever After by Emiko, Jeam. And I'm not sure what that's about either, but it's a romance story and it's a young adult book, and it was on Reese's book club stuff. So I'm gonna check it out because I haven't seen it in a couple places, and I wanna check it out and see what it's about. Even though I don't really know what it's about.
All right, so I got 4 books. You got 3?
I got 4.
Oh, look. Okay, so the next book I'll read is Cloud Cuckoo Land, I think it's called, by Anthony Doerr. Okay. So never read. I think we both talked about how we wanted to read All the Light We Cannot See.
Yes. I read that book, and
she made me buy it, and so ultimately never read any of his writing, but he gets good ratings. And so I'm just going to start with his latest and then decide if I want to go back. It is a historical fiction. You already know, as many historical fictions I've read, I still struggle with it. So we'll see. I don't know what it's about. I just know it's a historical fiction.
Oh, yeah. His first one is a historical fiction, too. Well,
yeah.
All the Light We Cannot See. Okay, so the next book and last book that I'm going to try to read this month, and it'll probably be the first one that I read, actually, is The Other Black Girl by ZAKIYA Dalia Harris. Yeah, so Kristen also read that and mentioned it in one of our last TBR wrap up. And it's about a girl who, she is in the office and another black girl comes to the office.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna read that because it's been I've been seeing it making its rounds, and Kristen said it was good, and I'm gonna read it so we can have a review for you guys. So yeah,
the last book I'll read, hopefully I'll get this month. I had it on hold for at least probably 2 months. Or I put it on hold at the beginning of October, something like that. But that is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. My Libby says that I'll have it in approximately 2 or 3 weeks.
I want to read it too, but mine says 19 weeks.
What's today? So I don't know if I'm gonna get it. That is just, if I get it, great. If not, it will roll over to December. But that, I don't know what it's about. It was a black couple on the cover. It's been on, I think it's on Reese Witherspoon. We like Reese Witherspoon's suggestions, if you all haven't noticed, but it was on I believe it was on her list earlier in the year. And I just been seeing it circulating, so yeah, I'm going to read it. I think it's a romance, and I think typically do romance, so yeah,
I think it is.
And that's it.
So that's it, y'all. Hope you guys enjoy. Let us know if you read any of the books we mentioned. If you have the same opinions or not.
And you see, when we read, we talk. So this will be a little bit, well, now that you've made it at this point, you know it's a little bit longer. But yes, let us know what you're reading. Let us know any thoughts. You said that, huh? Like this video, subscribe, ring the bell, and we'll be back next time. Bye.